Midwest Music Fest is back and bigger than ever. 60 performers in 2 days, September 16th and 17th. See S. Carey, Field Report, The People Brothers Band, Night Moves, Dead Horses, Dosh, Gold, and so many more. Find tickets and your new favorite band at midwestmusicfest.org. Get outside in Pepin County. Pack up the family and visit the childhood home of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Sail on Lake Pepin, bike the Chippewa River State Trail, hike up Maiden Rock, and throw a line in a trout stream. Sign up to win a vacation at visitpepincounty.com. We sat down with Corrie Brekke, owner of The Root Note, an organic cafe offering sweet and savory crepes, coffee, craft beer, plus live music and open mic nights. We get into the history of the location, food, live tunes, remodeling during COVID, and much more. The Root Note will also be a stage for Midwest Music Fest September 16th and 17th. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is Lacrosse Local.
My name is Corrie Brekke. I was born in Rochester, Minnesota. Yeah, I run mainly a food business. So there's like a big part of food integrated with what I do, but it's kind of more like food ways that excite me, like creating a space that people can consume something that is grown as like unharmfully as possible, and also something that supports local farmers who I think work so hard and do such a good job with what they're doing in our world. That's what led me to it. I love eating too, and I love like playing around in the kitchen, but I think more importantly, I have this deeper connection with how we get the food that we all get to partake in.
I got really introduced to your food, which I still miss to this day, is the restaurant that used to be over in La Crescent. I don't know when that was, because it could have been 15 years ago, but
so
me and my
ago.
wife would come there, I think maybe every single weekend, and at least maybe during the week.
Yeah,
so that started with your brother?
That was with my brother and my mother, actually. And that was kind of my first attempt to run a business. And there was some really good learning. What do we call them? Hurdles? Life lessons. Well, seeing things in the big picture is really hard to do in your 20s, I think. And so I just had this belief that like, if we do this, it's just going to work out. And the passion was there, but there was so many other aspects to business that I didn't have any clue what was going on. So I get a lot of like, to this day, random memories of people really enjoying that space. And I think part of it was just unique for a little La Crescent restaurant.
Yeah, what was that called again?
It was called the Hobnob.
Oh yeah. It was just like all breakfasty foods, and man.
Yeah.
I just think about it.
It really was. The part that most people don't know is that we lost our parking, and we had actually been doing really well. And I wonder what would have happened had the parking not gone away, but we had like a neighbor who pulled the plug on our parking situation. And then it went from having like a full parking lot for the weekends when we were really busy to having 3 spots. And so people and like the location was really tricky. So, but I mean, regardless, it was a good first run, and I got to work with my family, which was, it was actually really pretty special.
It seems like you're going to go somewhere else with that, but that's
good. I mean, I
could
talk about everything from every angle always. So I'm just going to stick with that.
The Root Note, in so many iterations, I don't know if it was but I remember there used to be like a pet store that eventually turned into like a brewing supply shop.
I think it was like, I don't even really know what this term means, but it was like, what does it mean to be a head shop? That's what people always called it. What does that mean?
Glass pipes, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. So then it was that. And then it was owned by a couple of people who ran a like home brewing supply store. And then one of those people, and then myself plus 5 other people, transitioned into the Root Note. So that kind of happened when the brewing supply shop closed, and then the Hobnob closed. And there was this kind of like weird timing of all these people who came to me and said, hey, your place is closing and we have like ideas. Do you want to get in? And I think I hate to say this because like, I'm just going to say it. I was in a very vulnerable position of like, where am I going with my life? What am I doing? This feels like there's some potentially really good collaboration here in what we were thinking we could do. And it had a period of time in which it ran was really special. So like I do have fond thoughts of that, but running a business with 7 people is incredibly difficult. So that didn't last forever. It's just so complex.
The Root Nose is an institution in coffee and live music and food and lacrosse. So it was neat to see the process. And I'm sure there was chaos in that, learning to do that. But, seeing the process from, starting out to like the new bar to, putting up the whole tree structures that you had on the stage.
Which we now don't have, but we still actually have whole tree structures in the basement. So when people come down here, there's a little surprise.
You went into like remodel in some ways, kind of like transitional period where people kept hearing updates about the Root Note or, potentially that was done. How long was that process? I mean, that was at least a year, wasn't it? For getting
it was nearly 2 years since because we opened back up. I feel like I should know when we opened back up, but it was sometime
You've been
in
busy.
the beginning of April, and we had closed sometime in the beginning of April 2 years previously. So yeah, it was a long time. 9 of those months I was in like an active remodel. Prior to that, there was some like work on the building ownership. And so getting money and figuring out how to do a remodel, I wanted to make sure everything was kind of clean and sorted. And so I had some work there to do before I could just jump into a concept. Plus I had no idea where the world was going in terms of restaurant tour / venue spaces. So it was kind of just a pause. I did some work around town doing other things. And the thing that really made me decide to go back into it was just every time I was in our community, someone would ask me what was going on. And it wasn't like there was any sort of expectation, but it was oftentimes just like so much gratitude. And that started to really just pull at my heartstrings. And I felt like, okay, if I'm going to live in La Crosse, even for another few years to a handful of years, which, I'm kind of at that, like my children are out of the house and maybe I do an interesting reset, but we were just kind of like really finding our stride prior to COVID in a way that felt kind of opening for me as a business owner. So all of that encouragement, I was just like, I got to do it. And thus far, it's been pretty good.
It's just interesting because not negative rumors, but rumors of like, we really hope it's coming back. Like people had discussions about it and they knew this and they knew that. So it's kind of like you kind of almost, I think you started something by not telling anybody what was going on in some sense, which I think was positive because people are so excited when they're like, it's opening. Like Willy Wonka. If
you tell people too much, then you don't get that kind of like buzz of the unknown. And I didn't do that on purpose. I really had a long period of time where I really didn't know. So maybe to my credit, it worked out in a good way. And I think I had a lot of anxiety over having a space that was one way for so long with small evolutions to like stripping the space back to kind of its original bones. Like It has a very different feel now. It's starting to actually get some character that feels more correct. But there's this concern that I was going to disappoint a lot of people. And that's hard.
Yeah. It's one thing that I always appreciated about the Root Note is music. It seemed like, before and now you're having kind of more curated shows and you're also going to be, I believe, a stage for Midwest Music Fest coming up in September.
Yep.
Why is like music and art and that sort of stuff so important? It kind of runs parallel with your business or anything you do.
Yeah, well, I think everything can be art. That's like the beauty of what I find the world to offer. And if you are trying to live in a place of expression, so as a musician, as a visual artist, as a person who creates food or does other things of curiosity, I guess, there's just so few places to express that with any sort of buyback. Unless you're just incredibly brave, there's just not a lot of platforms that support that. And I, for one, feel like that's such an important part of a healthy society. And so in a small way, in my little small building, it's just a component that I want to continue to try to build and offer. And Katie Laver right now has some artwork up, and she's a stay-at-home mom who does needlework. That's probably not what it's actually called. And she makes these from her own mind, from her own heart, beautiful pieces. And we're doing monthly shows right now with local artists. And it's just been a really great way to make our space feel special. And then also showcase these artists in our community that are working really hard. And like you said, we're doing more curated shows, which I intend to continue doing shows like that. But I do have some vision that there will be some looseness that happens with how I approach shows in the future. Part of shows being curated and a little more infrequent has to do with where we were at when we first opened with COVID. And then also just really getting my bearings with the space, making sure we're staffed well, making sure our shows go well, making sure artists are actually going home with some money. We never take a cut of what artists make. It's all, anything anyone pays at the door is going directly into an artist's pocket. But that just takes a lot of organization and time to do it well. So those are some new things that I'm kind of still sorting out. And then, of course, Midwest Music Fest is like going to be a huge launching point for getting a bunch of bands on our stage again. So that's pretty exciting.
I remember seeing, this was, I can't tell anymore with COVID, but maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I have no idea, but seeing Gold perform there, who's also going to be
I don't know
performing.
if they've announced where the shows are going to be, but I've seen my lineup and it's pretty sweet. So
is it, can you just,
I don't think I never read contracts very closely. So I do not know if I'm on contract to not say who's playing here, because I don't know if it's been announced yet.
If it's Gold, don't say anything.
Is laughing count? I don't know.
But no, it's just, we interviewed them, that's going to be coming out here, or already has when we release this, but it's just like those sort of experiences at the old location. It's going to be so fun to be there again, open, it's bright and airy. There's a beautiful stage, and it's just to see bands over that 2 days. I think it's going to be even more of a reintroduction for people that may have moved away that are coming for specifically Midwest Music Fest.
We're really excited about it. We have kind of like a good game plan, I think, too, for just like making sure everyone's taken care of while they're here and making it a good place for the artists, because we have like a nice green room that we're going to be having open for, I think, just the artists who play here. But it's, it feels like exciting to have some things more in place than ever before. And we now have a back entrance that is like a legit back entrance, so people can just be swinging in and out.
Food wise, drinks, you want to talk about that? I mean, is it kind of the old faves, or what's happening?
No, we've really changed our food menu. We have now leadership in each of the areas. We have coffee run by Jared Dennison. We have our bar ran by Hannah Compton. And then we have our kitchen ran by Julia Jester. And I have like a person, Bethany Bowman, who's my right hand help doing like all of the admin and all the things. Like, so we have like a cool structure going on. I want to plug everybody, but the one area that like we have yet to really see people take to is what's going on in the evening, unless I have like a trivia going on or some other events. But we have great cocktails, good sharing plates at night. And so we're kind of hoping that people start to put us on the list for what to do with your friend in the evening kind of thing. That was my plug. But honestly, plug. Every area of the business has like someone really paying close attention to it. So like if you're getting coffee, we now have like our Wonder State roaster is still our primary roaster, but we do a monthly rotation of other roasters. So we like feature the best of the best. And then we have our kitchen, which is like a seasonal menu now versus a stagnant crepe menu. We still always have a couple crepes for those who could not say goodbye, but things have shifted, and I think in a good and more playful way.
Do you have scones yet? Is that coming?
We do. We have scones and muffins, and we have pie. Pie was kind of like, okay, tell me where in La Crosse you can get a like an actual slice of pie and a damn fine cup of coffee.
I haven't been there in a little bit. I can't believe you have pie. I'm coming.
Yeah, you have to freaking have some pie. It's like very special to eat a piece of pie. It's weird.
It's weird to do it outside of a holiday.
It's just like, tell me when you had a pie, unless it was like a holiday.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I know.
I've been there a few times, but I'm excited to come back also for Midwest Music Fest. And I'm sure you're going to have a bunch of people just dumping in on that weekend too. But for people who want to connect with you again, what's the best avenue? I think you guys are pretty active on Instagram, right?
Instagram, we get back to you. We are launching a website shortly. Dolly Durley's been working on it for us, and we have our final meeting on the 18th. So there's like a couple ways, like if you are an artist or if you are a coffee roaster or if you have an idea for our stage, there will be kind of a platform on our website. Can I thank people listening who've come here or think about coming here? Thanks everybody for making this place possible, because couldn't do it without you.
La Crosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at La Crosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the La Crosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.